and welcome back to our weekly DSS break. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're here live every week to talk about data science experiences and best practices with leading data professionals in a 15-minute break. I'm Anna, CEO and founder of Data Science Salon, and I'm streaming from our headquarters here located in Miami, right next to the Design District. And on today's break, I'm sitting down with Jaime Russ, who is the principal data scientist at Ryder System, which is a local company. And Jamie's all about data science, focusing on expanding traditionally held concepts and methods to include newly available advanced analytics and machine learning tools. And today she's going to tell us more about incorporating machine learning into corporate financing and its analogy to fleet management, which is super interesting. And thank you so much for joining us for this break episode, Jaime.
Great. Thank you for having me, Anna. I'm super excited to be here.
Awesome. And I know that you have 15 years of business experience here in South Florida industries, and you've held leadership roles at companies such as Cross Country Healthcare, Office Depot, and now Ryder System. Can you tell us a little bit about your exciting background?
Yes, thank you for asking. So I started a little bit over 15 years ago in mortgages as a operations analyst, business analyst. Started on the business side, started getting introduced through our IT department, like some back Excel ODBC connection, and that's really where my love of data started, right? So I didn't even know what that was at the time, started exploring it and making some reports that were really impactful for the mortgage company on the operations side, and started learning how to have the conversations between tech and business and bridge that gap in understanding between what was available technology-wise and what the operations needs were. So really started in that, moved through getting certifications in Six Sigma. So that started with operational statistics. So that started building on that experience for analysis, business analysis. And then the big boom hit around 2005, 2008, and started moving through companies. You know, everybody in South Florida and across the country felt the effect of that. So
Right.
ended up moving into cross country healthcare, started expanding into project management as well as program management, where we take the projects, particularly technology projects, and start thinking of them as assets for the company and managing them like a portfolio. And this is before it became a thing, portfolio management. So we built a whole office there at Cross Country within the IT department, again, working with operations, making sure that we had the projects and the technology available for them. From there, moved into Office Depot as my next major role. Again, on data project management office, started working with IT and moved over into an IT role, nested within a development team where we worked with the business item management internal company. So now I'm working on the internal operations and directly with the database that houses everything. Started getting into some SQL, started getting into some watching how the data moves between systems and integration points, and started digging deeper into the technology and go, wow, this is really interesting to see how data moves and works within systems to be able to supplement the business and how we can feed our products that we're using internally. And then that moved into a love of data science. So we started getting into the data analytics, data science roles here within Office Depot and now with Ryder Systems. So yeah, it's been an interesting bag, a mix and kind of growth throughout my career getting through the data there. It's fun.
Cool. No, that sounds really exciting. And it looks like I definitely remember the boom in 2008 when everything kind of started. Everybody started talking more about data science, right?
Right.
And then now we're talking more about machine learning as well. So yeah, totally. No, that's a really interesting story. Thank you for sharing. And I know that you have worked as an analyst and data scientist in different industries. And what are some of the differences? Because I know that a lot of people always wonder what the differences and similarities are that you could see in applying data analysis and data science techniques in the different fields that you were a part of.
Right. So I have been pretty industry agnostic through my career. As I mentioned, I've been in a few different industries, but a lot of the principles, the underlying principles are the same, right? And curiosity in data is is a huge component of that as an analyst or a data scientist. So working within the different companies, there's a lot of talk, and within those different verticals, there's a lot of talk between, as you said, business analysis and data analytics, and then getting into data science. And I think everybody has their own kind of concept of how they work together or where the line of delineation is. But there's certainly a dovetailing between them, right? So in my mind, and the way I think about the differences in there is regardless of what industry you're in, from the business analysis side, it's really about understanding operations in the vertical that you're in or the industry that you're in, and understanding how the customer facing and internal customers work with the data that's provided and collected as an organization. And then at that point, it's how do I best serve my customers, and how do I best look into and represent and build products that can highlight the data and use it for customer solutions. So data or business analysis is kind of in that realm. Moving a little bit into data analytics, you start getting into exploration on where can I extract more data, where can I get deeper insights in the data to be able to help me understand customer behavior, data movement behavior, integration points, maybe database management, depending on the flavor. And start understanding, the shape of data and how it moves and what it's telling us or the stories that it's trying to tell. In data science, where I understand the delineation to be is we're taking those data analytics and those deeper analytics techniques and building on them to not just identify what other opportunities in data and how we can incorporate the available data, but finding data that might be not currently available so that we can supplement a bigger picture to see what the future might bring, right? So we're starting with the predictive aspect, not just from historical, but also from availability of like market leading indicators and things like that to try to incorporate them into a model that will be able to predict what the next X period of time is for whatever vertical we're in and what direction we're going, whether it's customer facing, whether it's internal, to try to make sure that we are directionally accurate and providing good profits and efficiencies for the companies. Does that make sense?
No, it makes a lot of sense. So it seems like both are important, right, in an organization.
Yes, absolutely.
So cool. And I know that you're going to be speaking at our upcoming Data Science Salon in Miami on September 21st. Really excited to have you there as a speaker. And you're going to be talking about fleet-footed machine learning and corporate finance. Don't be frightened. I love the title. It's one of my favorites. It's really witty. And what can the audience expect from your presentation? Maybe you could tell us a little bit about this topic without giving it all away, of course, but that's definitely very interesting, kind of applying to your industry.
Right. So one of the things that I've noticed is in getting into finance, and you look at data science as it relates to finance, there's a lot of information, rightly so, on finance industry. So we're talking about investments, we're talking about portfolio management, retirement, stocks, bonds, et cetera. So there's a lot of the customer-facing, finance products that are available and how data science can help feed those to be able to give more robust information for the customers on that end. What I don't hear a lot of talk about, because I imagine it's probably a little less exciting, is incorporating the data science techniques in back office operations, such as back office finance or some of the other areas of corporation, right? So the unit that I am in is FMS, which is Fleet Management Systems within Ryder. So fleet management is managing our fleet of trucks that is available, whether it's to our lease customers, whether it's to our rental customers for supplemental fleet, et cetera. So where we sit is on the finance side for that operations unit. So what we're really looking at is fleet-footed ML. Yes, I am a very punny girl. So the fleet-footed ML in corporate finance, don't be frightened, is really starting to look at building this data science team within corporate finance of a larger organization. So Ryder has a decentralized model right now for its data science and data analytics teams. We are working on that in cooperation with our enterprise analytics team on the IT side so that we can come into a more centralized and sharing of best practices. We're on that maturity curve and we're on that journey right now. Setting that aside, what we're trying to do for fleet management is say, okay, how best can we determine which vehicles we need to have available for our customers at which time, which vehicles might pose a problem based on their either similar attributes or based on their performance financially, and then dovetail that with operations information and say, based on what you know and what we see in the financial realm, let's come up with a model to figure out what we should be doing with these vehicles, keeping them, refleeting them, renting them, selling them off, etc. And then also dovetailing in what's happening in the market. So going through a maturity curve, we have traditional finance concepts. We have business rules that are applicable that we've been using for years that have morphed over time. But the traditional application of business rules to be able to make these decisions. Now we're incorporating a data science element. So now we're trying to predict certain portions of that. I'll leave it there. Certain portions of that process to be able to supplement the currently held understanding and the finance, traditional finance techniques, and dovetail all of those together. Talk about drafting on the highway, right? Which you should never do. But if you're drafting vehicles, right? Drafting vehicles, if we define the vehicles like data analytics, right? We define a vehicle as traditional finance concepts, and we define a vehicle as data science, predictive power. We use those three together. We can gain efficiency, we can move faster, and we can build a model that gets us where we want to go for being able to manage the fleet. There are other business opportunities, but this is where my seat is and where we're sitting within the organization right now. So that's really what my talk is going to be centered around. I have to pace it out, but I'm going to be talking about the concept and really illustrative as to what that means specific within corporate finance for us, and then try to work in the use case. I don't know how deep I'll be able to get into the use case because I do have to be mindful of proprietary information. But I want to touch on some of the aspects of the use case given time, and then of course allow for Q&A for the audience and see how far we get.
Cool. No, that's really interesting. And I think it's going to make a huge impact on the business altogether. So, that's really exciting that you're working on that. And what are some of the tools that you've kind of used to create the solution, and some of your favorite tools that you use on everyday basis?
Right. So Ryder is a Microsoft shop primarily. So we have right now, one of the things that we're doing is coming onto a common platform for Databricks and Azure. And that's part of our exercise and our initiative with our enterprise architecture team, so that we can share our best practice I spoke to earlier. So learning that, because this is the first time I've gotten into Databricks, has been a fun exercise. So I'm looking forward to the opportunities and the leverage and sharing that we have. The other part of it is, as from an ML perspective, one of the newer libraries or tools that I've gotten a hold of is PyCarrot. So I am traditionally a tester and more skeptical of just kind of plug and play type of technologies. So I like to test it out and understand how things are working. And, PyCarrot's probably going to call me on this, but they're billed as, a solution from beginning to end for operationalization for machine learning. And I haven't quite gotten 100% sold on that piece of it, because as you try and plug and play, every operation is different, right? Every shop that you're plugging it in is different. So I'm working with that right now more as there are hundreds of models that we could use for any predictive solution. So right now I'm working with PyCarrot tool to be able to highlight which of the models would work well or potentially give a higher return or a higher score, if you will, for the data science model. So I know where to focus my energy to be able to plug and play and build some ensemble models. So that kind of cuts the research time down significantly. Instead of saying, okay, I've got a classification problem, I know there's 100 different classification tools that I can use or 100 different libraries I can use. If I run it through PyCarrot, through the classification engine, they run all of those models in the background with the standard hyper tuning and some business, some assumptions in the background, and it'll tell me which ones might be high performing for that specific type of problem. They also have regression, and they have I think there's one other library I haven't gotten into because it's not really applicable for Ryder right now, or the problem statement that we're working on. But yeah, I think that's got to be one of my favorite tools, because trying to go through that exercise manually is one of the biggest challenges for data scientists right now, is which model is going to be best out of these hundreds of models for what I'm doing, and how do I know which one to start spending my time and entertaining on. So you want to make sure that you you're exploring as many options and trying to make an informed decision on which direction to go and where you're going to spend your time and energy to be able to come up with the best result for the organization.
Cool. Yeah, I've actually never heard of PyCarrot. Is it an open source solution, or is it actually like a, something that is a SaaS?
No, I believe it's open source. It's something that you would have access to with Python tools. And again, I just kind of, one of my colleagues locked me onto it and I started using it and implementing, but I haven't looked really in the background too much on where it came from, because I'm still in that mode of healthy skepticism, but very optimistic, so I'm still working through that. So like I said, I'm probably going to get a few messages from PyCarrot team right now and say,
hey, maybe they will give you some additional tips and packages that you can use or something, that you haven't come across. So I think it's
their community is pretty robust, which is good. There's a lot of communication flying because they are heavy in development mode and constantly releasing updates and a lot of communication on improvements and solicitation from their community. So yeah, all of that bodes well. But with any plug and play type of tool, you have to be able to assess how applicable it is for your particular problem, for your particular organization, because not everything is just plug it in and then ignore it and move on, So yeah. That's got to be my favorite tool at the moment.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for sharing that and joining us today, Jaime, and also sharing the valuable insights with us about your background. And also, I'm really excited to see your full presentation at our Data Science Salon Miami, which is coming up on September 21st. The whole event is going to focus around applying machine learning and AI in the enterprise, and we'll be gathering in person here in the arts districts in Miami, and also all sessions will also be streamed virtually for our whole community to see. So, and we're also going to have a whole Miami Machine Learning Week with our South Florida partners like PyData, which is going to be the next day. So I hope you guys can join and see Jaime's session there. And also, thank you so much again, Jaime. It was really nice to talk to you. And
nice to talk with
you. And I hope you guys have a great rest of the week. Bye.
Thank you. You too. See y'all there. Bye.